You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a high school teacher from Southern California.
Join us after the show and happy hour to extend your BNT experience with instant access to our resources, workshops, and courses.
Visit shop.bravenewteaching.com/happy hour to join us today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show. I'm setting a scene. It's the last period of the day, period. The students are exhausted. The teacher is exhausted, and the energy in the room is non-existent. Heads are threatening to hit the desks, and it's not just the kids. Or was that just me yesterday? What is a high movement or high energy strategy from your book that can wake up a sleepy class or just a trudging through the mud class in 5 minutes or less? Pew, pew, pew.
Oh, I love this. Here we go. I was a huge fan of Top Chef. And
Yes.
I love how every episode would start with the quick fire challenge, which was the manic dash for ingredients. And you had to whip something together in about 20 minutes or less. So one year we were doing short stories, and I basically raided my basement and junk drawer and got rid of all the garbage I didn't want in my house and brought it to school. So my kids' pencils when they were little, construction paper, paper clips, like anything, tape, all the office supplies, anything in Matchbox cars. And I brought it in and I put it in front of the room, and it was basically the table that you had to raid. And I showed a quick clip of Top Chef, showed them what quick fire challenge was. And I said, you have to create a visual representation of the story that we're reading in 10 minutes or less. And everything's fair game. And you would see the kids all of a sudden just jump out of their seats and grab what they could, head back to their desk. And they're looking at it like, oh my gosh, what did I just grab? What the heck can I do with this?
What was I
And
thinking?
there is that moment of panic, but there's also then, okay, I got this. And they would come up with things that would amaze me in
That's
15
so good.
minutes. And so with this, it's the, oh my gosh, okay, this is English class, but now all of a sudden it feels like art class, but I'm also being creative. And I can tell you this, some kids, when there was about 30 seconds left, had their tower of whatever they were constructing fall down and break into pieces. But it's the process. It's the... And we had a judging competition about what we liked, and we would do the gallery walk. But talk about getting kids out of their seat, mixing it up where it doesn't feel like we're just talking about literary elements. This is all ownership of you. And like I said earlier, every single one was different. So I wasn't looking for one specific thing. It's, can you be creative in 15 minutes and come up with something?
Yeah.
And of course, when students have those freedoms, often they impress us.
Or they could BS their way through it, which is half the challenge anyways, right? Also, just tell me something. Yeah, I love that.
But there's so much validity there, right? I can't tell you how many times I told kids, if you're BSing your way through it, you might think that you're tricking us, but you have to have enough knowledge to successfully actually BS something, right? And I think what's cool about what you're saying with this idea of being open-ended is that we can put that engagement piece at the front, and it may feel like it's fun, but when we circle back, they're going to be able to defend what their choices were once it's done. I feel like so many times we flip it, right? We want them to write, prove, do that labor first, and then do the creative thing. It's an extension. Mm-hmm. But I love this flip because you're letting them kind of go with their gut, their instincts, and then circle back on rationale, evidence, and even if you do that, you might not even do that every time, right? We just want them to trust your gut.
How often is an English class two-dimensional where everything is pencil to paper or Google Doc? How often is it three-dimensional? And what's so cool about that is now 100%. It's tactile. And with that index card, you're writing out what you created and the justification about how it connects to the text. So there may be some BS there, but at the same time,
sure, right,
it's something totally out of their wheelhouse. And it's so much fun.
A little silly, right?
Yes.
A little silly.
Page 91. Page 91.
It is definitely the chaotic lesson. So it may not be one you want to get observed on, but it is.
Or it may be the one you want to get observed on.
Or it might be, I was just going to say, or maybe it's the one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, so I have a few that come to mind, but one that I think about is it's a 2 sentence horror story lesson. Like that lesson just never falls flat. It's super engaging. And so that lesson, I show like several 1 minute um horror videos. Like there's several, and actually I have this on our website, a shorter version of this lesson. I think it's called micro horror. If you look Much Ado About Teaching Micro Horror, all of these clips are embedded in there. But we talk about like what makes what is horror, what makes good horror, what makes a good horror story. We watch all of these, 5 or 6 different 1 minute horror, and then we look at 2 sentence exemplars of 2 sentence horror stories, and there are several of those that are on there. And then it's the kids' turn to write. At this point, we have talked about like what makes them good, what do you like about this, and again, it's the students who are bringing forth what they're noticing instead of me telling them what I'm noticing. And now I set a timer. Again, I'm always setting a timer in my class. I think there's some benefit to just knowing like there's some urgency to having something done. So I set a timer. Kids usually work in pairs to write their own 2 sentence horror story. And then the lesson can go multiple ways from here. It can be, I typically use it as a lesson on revision. And I teach revision through this. So like, what do you need to elevate and what do you need to eliminate? Like that's essentially what revision comes down to. Do I need to cut something or do I need to make something better? And so looking at their stories through that, this could be a lesson on syntax, on selection of detail, on diction, however you want it to go. And then students go back and they revise and work on that and then put them all up in the hall and we go through and vote on them. I think this one is great for like when, you're just really struggling because it's number one, it's unexpected. Like you're watching these, scary videos in class and it's fast paced and it's something that they're interested in. They're working with a partner. They're up putting things on walls, reading each other's, voting on each other's. So, yeah, I love this lesson for that as well. Another lesson that I think is great for this, and I think it's the first lesson in the book, just poetry puzzles, cutting up poems or cutting out words from poems. I'm always about cutting up something. Like if anybody ever presents with me at any conference now, the joke is, oh, am I going to be the one cutting out all of the materials before we go? Because I just love to cut up stuff and have like students work together to put it together, which is so, when they're trying to construct a poem puzzle, it's forcing them to do a close reading as opposed to me handing them the text of a poem and say, I want you to do a close reading of this. Now they're number one, working together, they're close reading, using those critical thinking skills to put this poem together. So, and then they're already primed for discussion because they've been talking about it with each other before we've even read the poem in its entirety. They don't know it yet because they're still working to put it together. So that lesson always, it's really great. Like you'll see kids like get up and move around the desk and look at it in a different way. And yeah, I love that lesson.
So pages 209 and
Thank you, Amanda.
9
Yes.
On it. Just want to do. Should we do one more?
Yeah.
Are we
Do
done?
you want to
okay.
pick? Okay, right. You've got one primed, don't you?
Well, yeah, this is a quick one. Those two were really beautiful
No, I love
and in depth. This one is something that I think is actually very challenging. So I'm curious to, well, not that the other two aren't, but this one I hear a lot too. So we're thinking in this situation, a group of students where it's very socially risky to be excited about learning, right? Of all the cool things we're talking about today, there's also, there's that risk of enjoying yourself too much. And, we, heaven forbid, our kids enjoy that. So
shouldn't our kids look at education, but some of our kids still have it. Like
they're there.
It's amazing.
What are
I know.
what are your quick fire, best quick fire? I'm thinking about the strategy, Brian. What are your best lessons to kind of unearth, right, that sentiment, or how do you work to build a classroom culture where it's safe or maybe even cool to be enthusiastic about what's going on?
Brian, you have to share what you texted me yesterday, your meme that you texted me, because that's the first thing that came to my mind.
So we're finishing Pride and Prejudice, as I said, and it's one of the lessons in the book. It's the meme assignment. And I love to do this, especially with satire, but this works with any major text. And at the end, I ask students to just have fun with the book. So their job is to create 3 memes that poke fun of whatever it is that's topical to that novel. So with Pride and Prejudice, one of my students, because the assignment is due on Monday, but was so excited that she had to share it with me,
I love it.
made a meme that has all these boys sitting on a couch watching a movie, and they are expressionless. There's nothing on their face. And her meme says, when the class watches Pride and Prejudice. Underneath that is the same 4 boys on the couch. And you would think they were at a sporting event because it's fists in the air, mouths are open because they're yelling. And of course, the caption for that picture is when Mr. Sztabnik watches Pride and Prejudice. What I love. So not only is the student making fun of the book, they are also making fun of me because I am pausing probably every 5 minutes and like, this is the best scene in the film. You're going to love it. And I'm sitting there laughing. And so like, I think I'm part of the entertainment is seeing how excited I get about it. But then, the other memes that I get are about like Mr. Collins and how he's just looking for any girl whatsoever. The, Caroline Bingley, there's this great meme of a little girl and there's a house on fire in the background. So someone made that of Caroline Bingley because she just stirs up trouble throughout the novel.
That's phenomenal.
So that's the one where like you get to flex because if you know this book, you can definitely find ways to make fun of it. And same thing, like Monday, we're going to do this in class. I'm going through all their memes that they submitted. We're going to have the gallery on the smartboard and we're just going to laugh our butts off.
That's fantastic. I love it.
There's
With nuanced understanding, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This is one you can't really BS.
No,
There's
nothing that'll bring a class together quicker than all laughing at the teacher, right?
1,000%.
Especially when you're laughing at yourself as well. Like, that's great, right?
Every single one of my students will attest to that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100% engagement, making fun of the teacher. Yes.
Writing down weird quotes that your teacher says. Yes.
I love that assignment so much. So one that came to my mind was making a character playlist. And this is great. Like there's so much versatility in this lesson because it can be used like as a quick formative reading check-in, or it could even be an end of the novel assignment. It can really be used anywhere. It can be used with a short story, whatever, but just like choosing one character. And now we're going to create, and like Spotify rap just came out. Like what is Mr. Bingley's Spotify rap? Like what are his top 5 songs that he just heard? What age is Mr. Bingley in Spotify listening years and why? And so doing that, like anytime bringing in just like this pop cultural element, it kind of levels the playing field for our students and puts them, now we're tiptoeing into their kind of territory. And so they are engaging with the text and the thinking that we want them to, but because they're doing it in a medium or in a cultural context that's just easier for them to think about. Like it's like we're tricking them. I love a good teacher trick. They think it's fun, but we're really tricking them into, we're still getting what we are hoping that they will get from the reading and the lesson, but it's just in in a medium that's in a format that's easier for them to engage with.
Yeah, it's accessible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's accessible, but requires nuanced thinking. It's just so funny. Like that's the best trick of it all, is that they don't even know that not only are they thinking critically, but they're showing, right, the things that were meaningful to them. Like Marie and I talk about this all the time. We've got it wrong when we are the ones deciding, like on assessments, especially what we want to know. If we're not opening it up so that they can show us what they did connect to. We're just going to continue to have these same battles over and over and over again. So I love that. I think that's
I would
so good.
argue, like, taking this, like, a character playlist, like thinking about, like, how can, so we're finishing Frankenstein right now. So I want you to make a playlist for, and maybe this is their final assessment. I want you to make a playlist for Victor that walks through, his emotional progression of emotions throughout the book. And, choose the song, tell me why you chose the song, and now connect that to a specific scene in the novel. And to your point, this is not I'm trying to trick you to see if you read, but this is a show what you know type of assessment, which is what we're wanting. Like, show me what you know.
I love it.
Because I think Guillermo del Toro and I would have come up with very different soundtracks for every single scene if I were to do a film of Frankenstein. Wow. That's it, right? Like, that's the real life connection, is that we do, right? The way we connect is different, but it's also like what we're going to put out into the world.
And then I think, like, to what Brian said earlier, it's so beautiful when you see all of these connections and you start sharing them with, other people in the class, and they're like, oh, I've never thought of that. Or when I have that moment, it's like, oh my gosh, I've read Frankenstein 1,000 times. And this connection that you just shared, like, I've never thought of that before. Thank you so much for broadening my thinking on it. How empowering is that for a student to hear? Totally. And it's genuine, right?
And selfishly, how much more interesting to grade?
Right.
There's like, how much more interesting and an opportunity to get to know our students,
right,
in on a whole different level, because you get to, like, really see their thoughts and get to know a little bit of them and their thought process.
And they are going to be so much more invested in something.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Well, because they get to connect a piece of themselves. Exactly. Yes.
Yep.
Well, God, I just want to keep going, but I don't want to take up your entire day. It's the problem.
No.
For listeners who are ready to take Amanda's annotations and pick up your book, what do you hope they walk away with by the last page? What is, like, one major takeaway?
I would say that this book is meant to be a resource. And one of the ways that Susan and I try to conceptualize it was, this could be the book that when you have the Sunday night scaries and you're teaching poetry, you open up to the poetry section and you find something that might inspire you for Monday morning. It could also be a book that you read cover to cover, because there are 33 lessons here. And these are time-tested lessons. These are lessons we are returning to again and again in our classroom, because they work. And they do get 100% participation, but even more than that, 100% engagement. And you could hear some of the things that we've talked about here. I think one of the key things that you may hear that's underlying all this, but it hasn't been said, our students are working harder in these lessons than we are. So when I mentioned the 10 questions of the Twitter chat, once I have those questions formulated in my mind or on paper or on a Google Doc, I'm just posting them and letting the students go where they want. So every 3 to 5 minutes, a new question comes out. And when students start validating each other and they start trying to up their game to have better answers, they're doing all the work there. And I can tell you this, the joy of that is you get to see students at their best. It's not me up there begging for participation, begging for students to think about what we're reading. It's creating those conditions for them to shine. And I think that's one of the key things about this book is these are the lessons in which your students are going to shine. The last thing I'll say about it is this is really important. These are our best lessons, but we're not this teacher every single day. Like Susan and I talk about this all the time. There are days where our kids need to read quietly at their desks. There are days that we're just going over some of the plot details of a novel because we want to make sure they're on that foundational level before we start doing the more intellectual things. Part of our goal is to have at least one engaging lesson every week and committing to that so that our students can come into class each week knowing that there's going to be something out of the box and unexpected that's just going to brighten their day. But by no means is every single day, 180 days, pure engagement where kids are out of their desks and doing all these crazy things.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's something that I think outsiders looking in, or newer teachers, or even teachers that are wanting to change what they do, but they're going, oh my God, I don't have it in me. It's a misconception. But then like, I've even gotten myself in that trap of like, is this engaging enough? And I'm like, no, sit down, read the damn thing. And then I can engage you. Like, if you don't download the knowledge, there's not a whole lot I can do for you. So like, I'm just so glad that you articulated that, because I forget to say it all the time. Thank you.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would add to that is, before we go into the details of each lesson, we have a section that says our inspiration or the backstory for the lesson. And just being awake enough in our own daily lives to realize that there's inspiration for creativity and lessons all around us. It's just having to refocus and awaken our minds enough to be looking and thinking about watching Top Chef and then being like, I could transfer this to my classroom. I mean, honestly, like, it's almost to a fault now. I'm pretty much everything around me, I'm like, I can make that fit into the classroom.
I
But
love that.
I mean, that's the beauty of it, because we're responding to the world around us and figuring out how to, draw inspiration and keep things fresh in our classroom. So just, I hope that people would walk away from this book realizing that, oh, I have the ability to create lessons like this as well. I just need to be paying attention and thinking about, where can I draw inspiration from the world around me and how does that translate to the classroom. And I'm hoping that by telling our backstory of, here's the backstory, how we got the idea, and then each chapter has from inspiration to reality. Now I take this idea and how does this really drill down and become a lesson? That's even a model that will empower teachers to do this in their own lives.
I know it will. I know it will. And teachers are always looking for inspiration. So like, having this book plus your backstory of inspiration is so cool. I love that.
Well, and it does help just like demystify a bit of like, yes, it's magical, but there's no like supernatural power going into it, right? You're just keyed in to what can work. And then once you notice it, it just snowballs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be really nice to just kind of to wrap up our conversation, and this kind of connects to what you just said about the end of your book. But I'd say, like, globally, or in the big picture, what is the kind of one thing you wish every English teacher knew, either about themselves or the system or the future? Either it's like a truth or a piece of advice. What's something you'd like to leave with every English teacher who's listening to the podcast?
Yeah, I can start, and I will broaden it out even just to teachers in general. Teaching is hard these days. It is a hard profession to be in. Education, I'm in public education. I don't think it matters if you're in public, private, whatever. It's just it's a challenging time to be a teacher, and I never want to miss an opportunity to tell teachers, what you're doing is enough. And you're not going to hear that at your school. You're probably not going to hear that from the community. You're going to be hearing, it's not enough. We need more, 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 more. But we see you in the classroom, like the four of us. I know we can say the four of us, we see what you're doing and know the work you're doing, and you should hold your heads high. Teachers, hold your heads high. Like, what you're doing is enough, and showing up is enough, and you're making a difference. And I just am sorry and sad that we live in a society that is not broadcasting that message on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, to teachers. So teachers, like, let's just keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to be the ones that have to turn to ourselves and do this self-talking and self-encouraging until the rest of society gets on board to really give us the encouragement that we need.
Yeah, amen. It snaps to that.
The only thing I would add to that is, I think what I love about being an English teacher is it's the subject of possibilities. And for me, I see it as I have these great works of artistry. Like an author created this novel out of the top of their head and wrote 300 pages to immerse us in a world. And the same is true of poetry and short stories and even rhetoric. And the responsibility to that artistry is to make lessons that honor it. And I think with this book, we have 33 lessons that try to honor what we love about literature. And I don't think that happens through a study guide packet. So that teacher that we talked about earlier, that does packet after packet, that's the possibility for me that excites me is I have this text. What can I do to make students light up about it? And it's not just the activity itself, but how that activity pushes them towards deeper thinking rather than just the superficial. And with that, that may seem like there's so much pressure on us. Oh my gosh, I'm teaching Hamlet and I have to do these amazing lessons. No, it's just that you have possibilities. It doesn't just have to be the packet. Whatever inspires you about that work, try to match it in the quality of lessons that you teach.
Yes.
That's so good.
Shakespeare's listening,
Like,
and
listen,
if you don't do him justice, you'll be smited. Smote. What is the Bruce Almighty quote? Right from Bruce Almighty? Smite me, Almighty Smiter. That's what it is. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Thank you guys. I hope we can do this again. This was so much fun. And I know that this is the kind of stuff that does both encourage me and excite me to try something new, but also comfort me in knowing that I've already got a lot here. But these books and, PD like this really does help me sort through the next steps. Like, what is the next phase of my teaching going to look like? So thank you for writing it. Thank you for sharing all the things you did today on the podcast, because this is a great companion, I think, to the book and to getting started with getting into these strategies with kids. So thank you for being here.
Thank you,
I'm excited to see how this goes for y'all. And thanks to y'all for going from your day job to this extra step of just encouraging teachers and getting resources in the hands of teachers. Like, what a gift y'all are to the teaching community.
Well,
Thank you.
I think it takes your strategies put down into print and in your website. It takes us with our endless gabbing. It takes just all of these different connections, right? To
We're all
create
doing our
that
part.
community. Exactly. And to just meet the same way that we in our little bubbles meet students. We are, as a community of educators who are just doing the things, we are also trying to meet our fellow
each other
teacher. Where we're at, and we're just trying a lot, and it is nice to try together. So thank you for being here today. Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, friends, actually, before we let them go, where can everybody get their hands on 100% engagement?
You can go right to Amazon, type it in. The Core Room website, it's available there as well.
Okay. Excellent. And where can they, we will have all of this in the show notes, obviously, as always, friends. But where can they find each of you in your social media exploits?
I think neither of us are on Twitter anymore. Is that right?
You're not on X?
R.I.P. Twitter.
Right. So I'm Susan G. Barber at Instagram. And then on the Much Ado About Teaching site.
And I'm B-Stabs, STABS.
We also have a through Much Ado About Teaching, we send out a weekly newsletter to teachers, and we're sharing a little bit about what's on our radar. It's a pretty quick read, but what's on our radar, here's what's happening in our classes. So just like real check-in with real teachers doing the work every week, most weeks. From us. Yeah, I have to qualify.
I get it. We get
it. And the other thing, we
have
a Facebook group for the book. And it's amazing because it is teachers taking photos of student work based on these lessons. And they're asking questions like, has anyone done this lesson with this short story? So it is a super supportive community. And it's also like a brag community. Like, I tried this lesson and here's what it looked like. So
That's great.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about that is, these lessons are just like guidelines. They're going to look different in every classroom. So to see how other teachers adjust and adapt it for their classrooms has been so much fun.
That's such a great resource for people in all parts of their teaching journey too. Like wherever you are in your career, that's phenomenal. So thank you for sharing that. All right, friends, listeners, make sure that you head to the show notes for this episode, because it is going to be chock full of links that are going to be extremely helpful for you. And thank you again, Susan. Thank you, Brian, for being here, for sharing all of that with us and with our listeners. And we cannot wait to have you back, because this is too good to not do that again. All right. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in Happy Hour and the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here, and have a great week at school.